Welcome to Business Minds. Today we introduce you to Hasina Razafindratandra, founder of Code H. She's an independent entrepreneur who made use of her own life story to create her unique job for herself, managing meaningful projects internationally to make a positive social impact.
It's a dream job, it's my dream life, and I am very happy about it. It's unique. So a lot of people don't understand what I do. You have to pay the price for anything in life. I knew I was ready.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and enjoy the episode. Ready?
Yes.
Good. Welcome to Business Minds. Today we're delighted to receive Hasina Razafindratandra. Hasina, thank you very much for being with us today. So you are founder and CEO of Code H, so a big entrepreneurship evolution. So to start, I would like to ask you to define your current role in just a few words so we understand a bit better what you do.
Hi, and thank you for having me. So as you said, I'm a founder of Code H. It's a company that I founded in 2017. And I accompany organizations in different fields: education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. I am a consultant, a coach, and a trainer, and I also do some public speaking.
Excellent. So we will dig into that a bit more later. So first of all, we like to ask our guests where they come from to understand a bit better of their background. So my first question is pretty simple. Where did you grow up, and what kind of job were you dreaming of doing as a kid?
I'm Malagasy. I come from Madagascar. I was born and raised in Madagascar. After graduating from high school, I came to Montreal. I studied economics at the University of Montreal and finance at HEC Montreal. I also did a semester abroad in Barcelona at ESADE. And when I was a child, I had a really hard time to project myself into adulthood. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was very curious, and I've always asked the people around me what they've been doing as a job, and I was very curious about the role they have in society, if they like what they do and things like that. But I've always seen that, and up until now, that a lot of people don't really enjoy what they do. And it was hard for me to project myself into a career, per se.
Excellent. And so at a young age, you just mentioned the curiosity of yours and the fact that you didn't see yourself follow a more traditional path. Were there any signs, you would say, that you would create your own company at some point?
Yes, because I didn't see a path for me in the workplace. So I knew that I have to create my own path and my own career.
Mm-hmm. Who were your inspiration figures growing up? Did you have any role models to inspire you in your earliest years?
Again, no, not really, and that's also forged the person I am today. Because the fact that I didn't have a role model, I didn't know how to project myself into adulthood. Again, I didn't have a model or role model to copy or to emulate.
Okay, would you say you became your own role model at some point, or is that a goal of yours?
I can say that I really love what I do, and I truly enjoy my life and what I do, so maybe I became the role model I was looking for.
Okay, perfect. And so now digging a bit more into your career, how did your career start? What was your first job, basically?
So my first job was a consultant, again, so I'm a consultant today, and I started as a consultant, international consultant in financial audit. So we have to understand that the common thread in my career, in my life, is travel. It's the international side of my career. I was born and raised in Madagascar. I came here in Montreal to study, and then I lived in a few different countries, a few different cities: Toronto, Montreal, London, and Paris. So when I started my career as a consultant, I also traveled as a financial auditor. I audited the sites of the company I worked for. So it was Alcan. So now it's Rio Tinto Alcan at that time. Okay. And I did some missions in Canada, US, Argentina, and Mexico. So that was my first job. And then I worked for a consultant firm in executive compensation. So it's a mix of finance and human resources. and we help organizations define their policy and strategy in terms of compensation. Mm-hmm. We worked with mainly C-levels and board of directors. I did that for 6 years in Montreal and Toronto. And then I joined a multinational in Toronto. And at that time, I was living between Toronto and London.
Okay.
So I moved from the consultant to the corporate world.
Okay, so you said that for about 6 years?
So yes, 6 years, and I spent 1.5 years in the other company.
Okay, and what did you do afterwards? Because you told us that you wanted something quite unique that resonated with you. How did you shift from these first experiences to what was next?
To be honest, it didn't really resonate with me. I liked what I did. It was interesting. I learned a lot, but I knew that it was not, for me, it was not my passion. So after a few years, I resigned. I traveled for a year. I did a little bit of soul searching. And then I became a freelance. I accompanied startups. I did some freelancing for organizations. And in 2016, I decided to structure all that and create my own firm.
Excellent. And so you explained that Code H has been the result of all of this.
Yes.
How did the creation of Code H happen? What were the steps? What did you have to go through to get there?
So Code H, after all these years of freelancing and also in the consultant firm, in the corporate world, I found that, and we can go back to my childhood actually, because you asked me if I had a role model and if I knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I didn't, and that was a very important question to me, because I saw at that time when I was young that people spend a lot of time at work, mm-hmm. and for me it was not. It was not possible for me to do something that I'm not truly passionate about. That's something that I really like or enjoy or I'm good at. And I found that the adults around me kind of gave up on that. You know, it's just a job. You have to feed yourself and your family, which is something that I can truly understand. And really few people truly like what they do. So I thought that it's a really waste of our talents, our time, our energy, a waste of our lives, mm-hmm. not to try to find something that you're really good at, passionate about. And also it's a waste for organizations to have people who don't give their best, mm-hmm. to the organization. So from that perspective, it's the problems I wanted to solve with Code H. It's to help organizations create the right environment for people to really thrive and flourish, and to help the individuals find their path and find what they're good at and how to use their most important assets, their time, their energy, and their talents.
Okay, very, very complete. And so concretely, how does it manifest? What are the types of projects that you run with Code H to reach this goal that resonates in all of us, to understand, to find something that we are passionate about, to spend most of our days working towards? So yeah, what are the main projects?
So I work in 3 fields actually. Mm-hmm. So I do that through education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. When I talk about innovation, it's more from a management standpoint. Okay. Managerial innovation. How can you innovate in an organization to make the management better? In terms of education, I help organizations in launching programs across the world to help elevate education in different countries. In terms of entrepreneurship, I coach and I build programs, I deploy programs also for organizations to accelerate the growth of startups. So these are the kind of projects I work on. Mm-hmm. As you see, it will help directly or indirectly anyone, an individual organization, to thrive and do better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so Taking a couple of steps back, since you kind of strive to try and become an example to follow, what do you think it takes for anyone who would like to launch their own company just like yours? What does it take to make the step and go for something like this?
I think it takes a vision.
Okay.
A vision, a clear vision. Where do you want to go, and where do you see this company going in the future? A meaning also, why? Why do you do this? Is it for you? And it's fine if it's just for you also. Is it for the world? Is it for a few people? Who is your audience? Why are you doing this? And how hard are you willing to work to make it happen? What are the sacrifices you are willing to make to reach your goals? I mean, you have to have a willingness to take bold risk when you launch a project, a company, and there are a cost to it. Everything, you have to pay the price for anything in life. So you have to really understand what price you are willing to pay. Because when you do this jump, for me, I had a pay cut for sure. I wasn't paid for several months, and for more than a year, I didn't have a lot of clients. So you have to plan this also. You cannot just do this without financial consideration. That's why I say that I cannot really give any advice to a global advice, because it always depends on the situation of the person. You have to understand how risky is it for you to do it. Is it the right time to have the financial means to do it, to have the health to do it now? So there's a lot of things that you have to take into account before doing this jump. I won't just say that just do it and you find a way. No, I think you have to prepare a little bit.
Okay. And so you mentioned the right timing is important. How did you feel it was the right timing for you when you launched CodeH?
Because when I read the reports about the engagement in organizations, so the level of engagement, the people who are engaged in their jobs, the surveys all showed that it was declining. It was already very low, but it was still declining. And it was something that I knew since I was a child, maybe. So I said that now I think it's the time. I think I'm confident enough to launch this. I have experience in consulting, in the corporate world, in entrepreneurship, worked with startups, and I knew I was ready.
Okay. So it fell from a personal voice that...
Yes, from a personal voice. And I've also made some research. I was prepared. I knew what I was talking about.
Okay, excellent. And so despite that, you described that it was a bit difficult in the beginning. With a few months, it was hard to find clients.
Yes.
How did you go from this point to convincing big organizations? Because today you are working and collaborating with very big, important organizations. How did you manage to build this trust with such organizations?
It was not easy at the beginning, and I mentioned earlier, I was not sure I will succeed, for sure. But you have to take this leap of faith, and you have to really understand your vision, and you have to be committed. I knew that for the first year, it would be hard. Well, the first years, it would be. I was ready for that. I was prepared for that. Okay. So I was not discouraged. If that is very important, it's a very important thing. I was not delusional either. I knew that I had to prove myself. I had to do my research. I had to sell my products, and that was the hardest thing, because I need to build a network. Because it's a people business. People work with people. So since it was a new company for me, it was a new endeavor. I didn't know anybody in the field where I wanted to work in, and I need to create that network. So the first thing for me to do was to go to conferences, to workshops. I traveled also. I attended different conferences. I did a lot of missions in Europe. I did some trainings also as a trainer in Europe, and this was not paid. Okay. So I did a lot of free gigs, but I needed to gain the experience. So I was ready for that also. It's like taking a course. You have to build a network. You have to learn how to sell your products, and you have to test it as soon as possible. So you test, and it's a trial and error.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. And so what would you say are the top 3 projects that you've worked on so far with Code H that you would say you're the proudest of so far?
Okay. There is one that I've just finished this year, and it's with the International Finance Corporation, okay, which is a member of the World Bank Group in Washington. And it's a project dear to me, to my heart, because it's a project that we did with Madagascar. Mm-hmm. And Madagascar is my home country, my homeland, and it's a project in education. So this project, as you can see, ticks a lot of cases in my book, in what I want to do. And what we did is we identified the digital skills Madagascar would need in the next 3 to 5 years to accelerate its digital transformation. Mm-hmm. So the objective is to empower and train 6,000 people in advanced digital skills. So we looked at the demand from organization, public and private. Public, it's the government, ministries. Private, it's IT companies, BPOs. Okay. What is the demand in these advanced digital skills? Then we look at the supply. The supply is universities, private and public universities in Madagascar. Do they train people in this advanced skill? And if they do, how do they do it? Is it sufficient to respond to the demand that we have? So we saw that there is a gap in the demand and the supply, and we built a curriculum.
Oh, wow, yeah.
To train 6,000 people. So that was a project. So as you can see, it's a project that will have a lot of impact in the job market, but also in the society, as people will gain skills that will be paid higher. Mm-hmm. Madagascar would be seen as a hub in IT, and it will bring clients from other countries, from all over the world. It will really help the economy of Madagascar and the livelihood of its population.
Mm-hmm. To start a virtuous cycle.
Exactly.
You mentioned this one. Were there any other projects that you think are worth mentioning?
Yes, I also helped another international organizations, Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. So it's for the Francophone world, actually. And I accompany 34 startups in 11 countries, 12 countries, mainly in Africa, Vietnam, and Lebanon. Mm-hmm. So the OIF launched a program called Les Pionnières. Mm-hmm. Okay, Les Pionnières de l'entrepreneuriat francophone. So it's for the pioneers in Africa, and in Vietnam and Lebanon. And we help accelerate that growth and find investors interested in Africa, and especially in French-speaking Africa. And that was a project that we did with other partners, and my client was OIF, and we did that for 6 to 8 months. So we built boot camps for these companies, for these startups, and we did an event in Dubai for the Expo 2020, where we presented the results of their work. They pitched in front of investors. So we found investors interested in the kind of companies that we accelerated the growth of.
So what would you say are the thing you are most proud of? I would like to say in your career as a whole, but I guess mainly with Code H so far.
I'm really proud of the fact that I took the leap.
Okay.
That I trusted myself, because, as I said, it was not easy. The few years were not easy at all. Some people were also wondering what I was doing, and you have these people who are looking at you, the kind of judging, if you may say. But you have to have the courage to continue, and the courage to face actually the world and pursue your idea. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the fact that I keep doing my best, and I learned so much as an individual. I think that what I'm the most proud of is that it's Code H, but it's also who I became during all this process. It's a person that I'm becoming, that I've become, and I am becoming in this process.
After all of this, you were granted a couple of awards for your actions with Code H. What does it mean for you to receive such recognition, knowing that after everything you've explained, your project is so unique?
Yes, because as you said, I think you used the right word here. It's unique. So a lot of people don't understand what I do. It's if you're not my client or one of my partners, you don't really understand what I do and what I bring to the table. As it's a job that I created from scratch, well, from experience, but from scratch. It's not very mainstream. And when you say consulting to people, when you say you consultant, people don't really understand what you do. Even if you work for a big firm, it's still very nebulous for a lot of people. So since Code H is unique in a sense that it's difficult to really understand what I do, the fact that I received these prizes give me some credibility, I guess, in the business world. And it helped my future clients also to trust me, because when you receive prizes, it means that they looked at your business model, at your revenue, at your vision, your mission, your strategy, and they don't give these awards lightly.
We hear a lot that entrepreneurs have to deal with a lot of loneliness sometimes. How did you go through all of this? How true was it for you, and how were you able to?
It was very true. I think the loneliness it's not a myth, because even though you have people in your life that love you and want the best for you, it's still your own journey, and there are a lot of things that they don't live. They're not experiencing it. They want to help you, but if they're not entrepreneurs and if they didn't get the setbacks that you are facing, it's very hard for them to put themselves in your shoes. So that's why I think that mentorship from entrepreneurs is really important. It was a personal development journey, as what I said earlier, for when you are an entrepreneur, because you see your limits, but you also see your potentials. And how did I live with this loneliness? I still feel lonely sometimes, but less and less with experience and maturity, I guess. How do I live with it? I just live with it. It's part of the game. That's why I said that when you try to do something, you have to really do a self-assessment. What would you be able to go through? It's important to know that what are your limits, what are your potentials, and you have to live with this loneliness, but also you can find help.
That's why you're trying to be a mentor yourself now.
Yes, that's why, for example, I'm on the board of Logic. It's a way for me to promote our Logic's project to young people. I know that this kind of experience, international experience, can bring a lot to your personal and professional development. And also, yes, I try to give tips and advices to other people, and that's why also I'm a coach in entrepreneurship.
Excellent. And so now I want to ask, throughout all of your experiences, what are the most important skills that you have acquired in your life/career?
That you have to learn to be uncomfortable.
Okay.
You have to be okay with that, and you almost have to like it.
Okay.
Because as an entrepreneur, there's nothing guaranteed. If you look for certainty, don't be an entrepreneur. You have a lot of ups and downs, and this emotional roller coaster, it's not for everyone. You have to make sure that you have an emotion, you have a system support, that you have the, I would say, the mental health also to cope with this. So you have to know yourself. You have to be very, very honest with yourself and your abilities to handle the ups and the downs. The other thing is to understand that you have to pay an ignorance tax. What I mean by that is when you do entrepreneurship, there's a lot of things you don't know. You know that you don't know some things. You know that you have to, learn how to sell, for example, or you have to build a network. You know that. But there are some things that you don't know. Mm-hmm. And you pay the tax for that. For me, it's very easy to redo what I have done with 7 years of experience, maturity, and everything. It's easier for me to build a Code.H now than it was 7 years ago. But that's not how life works. You know that I still pay some ignorance tax now, because I'm trying to do something else, something new, and I know that there are things that I don't know, and there are things I don't know. So you have to be comfortable with that also. You have to be ready to pay the price for anything you want in life.
Very clear. Thank you for this. And so now looking back at all of your career path, so you started as a consultant and also a manager in already multinational companies, to then progressively shift towards managing projects internationally, as we just discussed, with more of a social impact. How do you make the shift? Because as you said, a lot of people who might be unsatisfied in their job probably dream of doing this, but do not believe it's possible. How were you able to do it?
You have to do the research. It's an entrepreneurship journey. You have to do the research, market research. Who will be your clients? What is the problem that they are facing? Will they be willing to pay for it? Do you love the problem more than the solution you're going to try to provide? You have to love the problem more than the solutions, because the solutions will change based on different variables, based on different factors. With the use of technology, a lot of things can happen. But if you love the problem, you will continue to find solutions. And if I have any tips for a student or someone who is starting his career, I would say to be more task-centric than title-centric. When I told you that when I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to do because the title didn't mean anything to me back then. When you're 5 or 10 or 12, someone is telling you what a doctor is, or a pharmacist, a teacher, you understand that. But someone who works in an organization, you don't understand what they do on a daily basis. Someone will tell you that they are a banker you can understand, but I don't know, a consultant, they work in marketing. At 10 or 12, you don't understand what does that mean, So the title is not the most important thing. Don't focus on title. Focus on the task. What is the person doing on a daily basis? And I think you have to understand it and make sure that you would like this kind of lifestyle and the task, the activities you are going to do day by day.
Okay, perfect. And so, as we've discussed before, you have experience both in the corporate world and in entrepreneurship. What did you learn from both, and how do they compare? Somehow, how would you describe the comparison between the two?
when you join an organization, you have to agree with their vision, their missions, and their values. When you create your own organization, you build the vision, the missions, and you have to embody the values. So that first, it's very different. When you're an entrepreneur, you create. You have to love creating things. So that is it's a different ability also. Not a lot of people want to create things. Some people are very good at running things, at following a structure. Some people like security. Although I don't know if we can say that there is a security in jobs nowadays. I don't think that does not exist anymore. So your level of comfort in ambiguous situations, something that you have to look for. How do you work in a less structured environment? Because a startup, entrepreneurship, you have to be in all. You have to do a lot of different kind of things. You have to be good at a lot of things, different things. When you're in organizations, usually you work within a certain limit, like a certain how would you say that, field. You don't. When you work in marketing, you don't have to do the finance. You don't have to do the to run the business. But as an entrepreneur, when you work in a startup, you wear multiple hats. So I think that's a very different aspect. And as I would say that you have to be a jack of all trades and a master of some.
Very nice formula. One thing we have not mentioned yet is that in Code H, the H stands for human.
Yes.
And so in your mission statement with Code H, you talk about putting the human side of things back at the heart of decisions. So have you noticed a lot that companies are drifting away from having the human side at the heart of the decisions? And how do you think we can adjust the company's focus to have this social impact at the heart of decisions, as you say?
Yes, we had this movement a few years ago. Some organization put in place a new role in the organization, and it was a chief happiness officer.
Yeah.
So I don't really buy into this concept, because I don't think that the role of an organization is to make people happy. It's not the role of the organization. It's not its responsibility either to make people happy. What I mean by putting people at the heart of the organization, the human at the heart of the organization, is that organizations have to build an environment where people can flourish and thrive and do what they are paid for. So the role of the organization is to put this environment in place so that people can engage into their work. It means that they can work with autonomy. It means that they feel they are part of something with different people. They are related to each other, to have this sense of community. And that they give the person the tools to do their job well, and make sure that this person is the right one for the job. And I think that where the problem is now in organizations, and it's not just the responsibility of the organization, it's also a responsibility of the individual. You have to do this self-assessment and be very honest with you. Are you title-centric versus task-centric? Do you do this for the status, for the lifestyle it's going to give you? Or do you do this because you really like the task and you know that you are able to do the job really well? So that's the individual's responsibility. The organization has to put in place the environment so that these people do the job they've been hired for. And this environment is an environment of trust. It's an environment where people feel respected, where people can grow when you help them grow.
Okay, perfect. And another major component to your activities is the international aspect of it. So, as you mentioned, you kind of started by creating a bridge between Montreal, Canada, and Madagascar, and more afterwards. How important do you think it is for companies and individuals nowadays to have an open mind to the world? And so do you believe that the downside of it for companies that are a lot smaller and a lot more local branded, do you think it can be something difficult for them?
Well, I don't think that you need to expand internationally or globally to be successful. It really depends on the size of the market you're in. But since it's a globalized world, everything is interconnected. We saw it during the COVID, that we needed masks from all of, from the other side of the world, and everything is connected. So if your business is local, your vendors maybe not, your buyers maybe not, the commodities you use are not. So you have to have this broad vision, and you have to be connected to what's happening in the world and to develop these intercultural skills, because even just your clients, your customer in your shops or your clients in your company, they can come from anywhere, even if you're locally based.
Mm-hmm. And so now I'd like to circle back to, you mentioned earlier the importance of building a network, especially if you're an entrepreneur, but not only if you're an entrepreneur. Mm. Do you have any tips on how to build your network? How did you build yours? Did you have any specific moment when you were like, okay, now I understood something?
It's all about building relationships, actually. What is a network? It's people who trust you and you can trust. It's all about trust. And to build trust, it takes time. Mm-hmm. You have to prove that you are trustworthy. Mm-hmm. So I would say that when you encounter someone, when you meet someone, you have to be present. You have to connect the dots. With things that you already know. If they say something, you have to think about something that will help them. Because in these kind of interactions, in any interaction actually, there's always a part of you saying that, what's in it for me? So when you meet people, you have to think about what's in it for them. Mm-hmm. So you have to be willing to give first, to give a lot, and not try to take something when you meet someone. You have to show that you're also resourceful, that you can help them. And then I think that in the long run, they will identify you as this resourceful person they can trust. And then doors will start to open.
Excellent. And last question of this section, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
It's not an advice that I've received. I would say it's something that I've experienced firsthand, or something that I still experience these days. That we have to pay the price. I said it earlier, but there's a price to everything we want to do, and we have to pay the price for it, to learn. And understand that there are a lot of things that we don't know, we don't know. And I think it's to be more self-compassionate.
How so?
Because we are all work in progress. And that's something that is an advice I would give to myself. Okay. That I will keep making mistakes. It will, I will still feel rejection in the business. I will fail in trying something new, maybe, but to really be self-compassionate, because usually we do things with what we have at the moment, and sometimes it's not enough, but sometimes it's all that we have. And I would say that it's important in life to be self-compassionate, but because when you're self-compassionate, you will be also compassionate. And you will build empathy to others. You will judge less.
Very kind and wise words. We will try and remember this. Thank you for this. This leads me to the last few questions of this interview.
Yes.
Number one, what do you have left to accomplish?
I would say so much still. I still have a lot of dreams and passions. I'm a big dreamer, always been. So I would say that I would like to continue what I do with CodeH, of course, create new projects within CodeH. And I guess you'll have to stay tuned for that.
Excellent. How would you like to be remembered by your coworkers/collaborators when you retire?
If I ever retire.
If you ever retire.
As someone who cared. Because I really care actually about what I do. And I think that's something that I put a lot in this journey and in this endeavor. I care about what I do. I care about the people I work with. I care about the project I work on. So I think that people feel that and they know that.
Well, that's very beautiful. Congrats. We can only wish you this is one of the best we've heard so far. If you could have a private meeting with someone, anyone, dead or alive, who would that be?
I don't have one person in mind, but I would say any woman leader. Because as a woman, I think that it's still very rare to find women in really high positions. But now that we saw that in Mexico, for example, we have a new women president, like women who are in places we did not expect them to be. Okay. Because I want to understand what did they have to face to be there. And I think I can relate more because it is a woman. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And this leads us to my last question of this interview. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. What is your biggest dream?
Well, my biggest dream for the world is that everybody fulfills their potential while they're alive. Because our time is finite, life is finite. So I wish that we all do what we came here to do. Live well, contribute the best we can.
Perfect. That's very coherent with everything you've said before. This leads us to the end of this interview. Hasina, thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This was Hasina Razafindratandra on Business Minds.
Thank you.
Thank you. What is your favorite place in the world?
I would say my heart, but I would say any bustling city or a very remote beach.